I want to talk to you today about the road to fascism. Once upon a time, it was thought that capitalism could keep itself going by an internal dynamic. Now, here's what I mean. That capitalists would be forever on the lookout for new, exciting investments, that the money saved by masses of people and businesses would pour into investing in new technologies, in new products, and all the rest. Well, it was half mythology, half real. The mythology part was we did have crashes, and it did break down from time to time. On average, every 4 to 7 years, the investment wasn't enough to keep the system going and had to be rescued by one or another government stimulus. But it had some grain of truth in the fact that other than in those every 4 to 7 year average crashes, it did seem to have a certain dynamism. I think in recent decades, and particularly here in the 21st century, that is no longer the case. And something else has had to come in to keep the system from imploding. What is the new element? The new element is credit. And above all, credit created and distributed by the government, in particular by the central bank. Well, what's keeping American business going, and indeed what's keeping capitalism going in most parts of the world now, and I'm including China, India, and so on, are massive infusions of credit. And make no mistake, that's what's keeping the economy going. Look at it today in the extreme moment of COVID-19, but before COVID-19 hit, we were having record creations of new money, new credit, new loans, which is the form that new money takes. Credit is keeping this system going. From the companies who have more debt now than they ever did, to the government who has more debt now than it ever did, to the average person who carries more debt now than he or she ever did. When the capitalists of this world depend as totally as they do now on the government for the credit, which keeps the system going, the politicians, the credit distributors will demand and get from the capitalists the kind of accommodation, adjustment, subordination that begins to merge government and capitalist into a joint venture. And that joint venture is the survival of capitalism, the survival of a small group of people at the top exploiting a mass of the population, employees. But in fascism, the difference is that the lines between government and the private capitalist employers, those lines get blurred and eventually they get erased. And what we have is a military, industrial, governmental complex. That's happening now as well. Slowly, steadily, it is shown by the way in which government credit has replaced anything the private sector can do, could do, and would do in keeping this system going. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work with another Wolff Responds.